All right, so I wanted to show you guys, I've been working on my welding, and I'm by far not an expert, but I've been working on making targets for shooting. I needed some steel targets. I had bought one for 5.56, but I was looking for something for 22 LR, something that can withstand that, which it's a small round, so it's not that much. So I've been showing, and I picked up some scrap metal just to show you. Oops, here, I'll show you this. So first thing I was working on is this. This is like a realtor sign. It's like some metal. It's not that thick, but I welded this crossbar just to strengthen it. And on top, I took pieces from a basketball hoop, two metal pieces. I think the only issue is it's slanted inwards a little bit. I don't know if that's a good idea, though. I don't know if this will withstand 22 LR. It may just go through. I'll show you it. I'll show you what I did to it, and hopefully it'll hold up. So it's got a little handle on top from the realtor sign. That was good. And on the back, I made a mess of it. I was using 7018 rod, and that's just too hot. So I got some 6013. That was a lot easier to do. Though I do think the 7018s weld better. Some light. All right, so it's a little bit of a mess, but I am not a welder. I'll admit that. So let's take a look. Here's the back of it. I got some pretty okay welds here. This actually is I think a better weld. Can you see it with the light? Let me get some lighting. Okay. So these are two separate pieces. I welded a little bit across, not so well there, but for the most part, it's holding together. And you can see it's not very thick. It's pretty thin, actually. So we'll see if it holds up. If not, the 22 LR will go through, no big deal. I'm going to put it at a distance because I'm a little concerned about ricochets, but I actually think it'll probably just go through this. But that's the first thing. Okay, now the next one is this. This one's much heavier. Oh my gosh. Now this is steel plate. Now I hooked it up to an extra, this is from a trampoline. It's a ladder. Let me get that set up. So I took this ladder and I found this steel plate, and it wasn't easy to cut. I used an angle grinder to cut it. I'm not saying it's 100% straight. I think that's how I found it. It was a little crooked, that cut. But I did cut the side, and I'll show you the back. This is much heavier. I mean, this probably weighs probably about 8-9 pounds. So again, I kind of burned through with the 7018. That's the problem with 7018. The plate was fine, but the ladder is just not thick enough. And so what happens is a little bit melted through. So I followed up with a little 6013. That kind of helped. You can see I welded here, and I welded the insides a little bit. I know, it's a little bit of a mess. The problem is when you're welding something that's thin, it starts to burn through. But I finished that up, and then I spray painted it. And in the front, I just spray painted it. This is like a steel plate. I think a 5.56 would go right through it, but I think for a 22 LR, it should provide some good sounding feedback. So we'll check it out, and I'll try to mount it at an angle. I think targets should be mounted a little bit back, not straight up, so that when the bullet hits it, if you mount it back, like tilted back, it'll hit it and then ricochet up. That's the goal. Anyway, looking forward to our next outing. We'll get the barbecue going too. See that other video. Okay, so far we got the stand set up, and this is the playground. Here's all the targets. Oops. This one I actually also made myself. I welded it to the stand. This is from a swing set. It's that corner steel piece that holds the swing set together. The big posts going up to the horizontal parts, posts. I just welded it. All right, not that great, but it's okay. This should hold up for a 22. We'll find out. We got my trusty favorite competition. Got to test that out. Will it? Oh, this is supposed to go. I forgot. Okay. Maybe it's backwards. Yep. We got to turn this around. All right. I forgot. Finish setting that up. We got the chalk one. Always a lot of fun. It spins around when you shoot it. Actually, it should be a little looser. So you got to test everything. If it's looser, it'll spin a little more freely. Okay. Okay. We got some painted guys, some plastic bottles, tire inflator, more flat fix. This is the heavy steel one, little plastic toy back there. Cowbell. Alright. It's difficult. The ground here is very rocky, so it's hard to dig holes in the ground and push things in. Okay. Caldwell. My other homemade one. All gonna be great. Okay, ready to go. Go. Okay, go.
By the way, I'm aiming over there.
Oh yeah, what if I hit your phone?
Always hold it upward.
What if I hit your phone?
You won't.
Because I want to hit that too.
Don't worry. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's not.
So just skip that one for
No, but
now.
I want to hit the bottles.
Hit the other ones for now.
I'm not. Just move your phone to that one.
Yeah, but I can't get the rest of it. I want to get the
No,
rest
move
of it.
your phone.
Yeah,
No,
but just
no,
don't.
no.
Just I'll give you 2 rows. Don't worry. Just don't shoot that first one. The first time you have to.
Hey, tell me when you're going.
It's hot. Yeah.
Wait, what do I?
Just aim.
I haven't done this in a while.
Aim
what do
for
I do?
put your circle. Remember circle with the thing. Line it up with the cow. Right.
Wait, so if the circle's on there,
There's a lot.
I'll hit
Look
it.
through the circle at the top of this. You line up this down. Julia, you should go over.
Hit the zinger.
Good. Okay. Reload. Finger up.
Yeah.
Put your fingers in here. Pull down.
I didn't hit it.
Hit the cowbell, guys. Quick.
Yo, you knocked on
you
the
got it
head.
now.
Yo.
Wow, really?
My phone is not a target. Hit the big orange one.
2 seconds. I want to get this one.
Wait a minute. This. Whoa. Oh, wow.
You hit.
Whoa. I think that went through. Wow. I built that. Don't destroy it. Hit some bottles. Hit a bottle.
Oh yeah.
Make it explode. Don't hit the phone though.
I'm trying.
It's okay. Take it, relax. Just get that right shot. Line it up. Exactly. Don't worry. Line up the top through the circle.
Oh.
Don't worry. You may run out. Hold on.
Yeah.
Put that on the target.
Did you see? Take out the sniper over there.
Just right now.
I'm not getting
When you're ready to
Sophie
reload,
and-
you take your finger out and you just pull it forward and back.
Just get Sophie in the beginning so
But
we know
just
it's
get
Sophie.
that, look through it,
You're not even pressing
and line up the front,
and put it on something.
That's so
I think you hit it.
Yes. She hit like a tree, I
Just
think.
with those 3 fingers, pull down, pull forward. Right. A little more forward. That's good.
So loud.
All the way, yeah. Don't be afraid because it needs that. I want to try it now. Okay, don't worry. If there's something doesn't, that's the nature of this ammo. It's rimfire. See. Okay, try it one more time.
Oh my gosh, Sophie.
Sophie.
Okay, so just eject it. Put your fingers in. No, the lip line through. Oh, shit. Okay, because there's anything in there. Okay,
You
try
can hear
that.
the-
Take a shot.
You can hear the birds so well with you.
Okay,
You
can
hit
put
that.
these 3 fingers
I
in.
think you hit something.
She did.
I want to see mommy shoot.
Oh, good.
Did that go over there?
That was close.
I have to rotate that.
Oh,
You hit something.
something flew. Somebody get a bottle.
I'm gonna try to hit that, but I don't want to hit his phone.
I think you should move closer.
Yo, that was laser.
Sophie, why did you make that thing?
It's not a good video because you can't.
Mimi's. Mimi's good.
Oh.
Oh no, not anymore. Whoa! You just
that
missed.
arm
You got in between those 2.
Laser.
Good, go higher.
Try to hit the
With it,
bottles.
and line up
Other
the
laser
top of that.
Try to hit the
that bottle
bottles.
with the orange. Think you got it. I think you got it.
A bottle?
No, the steel.
No, I want her to hit a bottle.
A bottle?
Bottles are hard.
I'm gonna. Oh, just
That's
on one.
the
Saw
thing.
that?
The lasers
A
are
little
so
lower.
scary. Okay.
And the red ones are even scary.
Why do some show lasers and some don't?
We put in some. with
Because the
laser.
regular bullet.
I hit a bottle.
Yeah? Oh, I think it does.
You hit the Bartanura! Oh my god!
She did. I didn't even
Mazel
see.
tov!
She took a slow-mo video.
Whoa! I didn't know.
Wait, guys, hold fire. Hold.
Take a shot.
No.
Maybe not.
When she's done, I'm going to look at it.
There you go. Okay. Open it up. You see, now it's safe.
Okay.
Every gun is different.
I
Sophie!
want to look at it.
Oh yeah. First bottle.
Sophie, that was crazy!
Sophie.
Oh my god!
Yo. It's actually to shreds.
Oh my
We have to
god!
clean it up before we sit here.
Headphone. Yeah, we have to. Oh my god, Sophie.
Sophie, put your head by the bottle.
Look what it says here. No
Look
guns.
where you shot.
know-
And
You
Sophie,
see
put
the
your
hole.
Julia, move aside for a sec. Sophie, put your head by the bottle.
See the hole. Oh my gosh.
That's real knockoff right there.
Oh my gosh.
No, you
I want to hit that
you
one.
see exactly
I
where the
actually
hole
really
is.
want.
Okay.
Okay, tell me when it's max turn.
Open it up.
What was in there?
He hit the air and then like sour cream.
Oh my gosh, Max.
Max knew what he wanted and went for it. That's too funny.
Well, he just hit the target.
He hit the
He's the white one.
Imagine you're hearing something from that side of the room that's 15 minutes. You put that person.
Did this hurt anyone else? There's a hole in the thing.
Oh, I thought it was the dark one. What's the R for? Ruth?
You heard it. Yeah. Rifle.
Look at what he got. Where is it?
Oh,
Oh,
hold
here it
on.
is. Come here. You can't stay on the floor.
I'm coming in.
Max, a bullet ricocheted onto the floor.
Don't shoot me. I'm up here.
I got that whipped cream. What is all this? How many times have you guys gone?
So in the end, this held up. It made pretty big gouges, but it held up. And no problem. This just scratched off the paint. 22 did not really dent in the plate steel. We blew up some bottles, tire sealant. And as far as this one that I made, it didn't penetrate, just dented it in, which is good. Very happy. Some other targets.
That one. Sophie hit the zinger and the bottle.
All good. So just to show you, we came back, we were upstate, and we fired about 600 rounds. We really had brought family members and other people really who had never fired a gun before. And it's important these days to really teach everyone how to at least have some basic understanding of how to operate a firearm. So we're using the Henry the Henry Golden Boy Deluxe 22 LR. And here's one target, the first target that I had purchased. It did really well, obviously, with the 22 LR. It's what it's designed for. It just made a little indentation, no big deal. I'll spray paint it and it'll be great. The next target, it's really a lot of fun, this thing. The targets flip up. They don't really stay up like they should, but whatever. It's just, everyone seems to enjoy it, so what's the big deal? Here's my next target. This one I made myself from the back of the basketball hoops, the Spalding mounted basketball hoop. So I took some of this metal that was left over and I had some extra pieces, and I welded it to this frame, this realtor's frame, and has a nice little handle on top. And this held up pretty well. You can see the 22 didn't make it through. It kind of like indented its way through. And but it didn't penetrate it. It tried to. You can see at the weld point over there, but it wasn't able to make it, which is good. And looking at the back, you can see the welds held, and I should be able to, I would say, keep using this. I'll repaint it, obviously, but this should last a pretty long time. So for free, just by putting together scraps of metal, you can actually get a nice target. Now the next target I wanted to show you is this one, actually. This one was from the corner of a swing set that a neighbor had thrown out. You see, now I'm like a scrapper. I pick up all this junk, and I don't know if that's what you call it, or my family calls it like a homeless person, but basically I pick up this steel and I welded it to the stand, and this held up pretty nicely to the 22 LRs. A little indentation, it got a little bent. The 5.56 from the Ruger Mini 14 just went through, obviously. I expected that, but I didn't mind on this one. Now the next one I wanted to show you is, this is a steel plate. I think it's a 1/4 inch. And I had found this on the street, and I welded it to this trampoline ladder. And this, I only used the 22 LR because I really like it, and I didn't want to have a hole go through it with the 5.56. You can see it just got a scratch. No indentation, basically. It just maybe scratched a little off of the metal, but nothing, and it really held up. This should really last a generation if it's just using 22 LR. I wouldn't fire 5.56 at it because I expect it would just go through. And just to show you at the end, I have the Caldwell. This I purchased the Caldwell target stand. It's really great. It actually says don't shoot at it unless you're like, I think 100 yards away. I was only about 100 feet away, and I fired at it with the 5.56 tracer round, which is always fun. I love those tracer rounds. I have them even in the 22 LRs, and especially for new people. They get to see the people who are new to firearms. They get to see the round fly, and it helps you in terms of showing you the accuracy and how you should aim. So it's really good for training. So this actually, the 5.56 didn't even nothing. I thought it might go through. It just little indentation, not even there. Excellent, really nice piece of steel. Very happy with this Caldwell targeting. These are the 22 LRs, and this is the 5.56 rounds. So overall, you can see we had a lot of fun, and more importantly, we were able to train some people who are new to firearms. Very important. You know, it's not just about you using a firearm and you having fun. It's about really bringing other people in so that they can enjoy the sport, maybe get into the sport, and also importantly these days, just have some rudimentary understanding of how a firearm works and how to aim it and load it. Those things are really important. You don't know where things are going, just generally. So I wish you the best. Really enjoyed it, and hope you take it up and enjoy it too.